We pulling?
Hey, I'm Zax, and here's our guide to Stix Bunkjunker, the 4th boss in Liberation of Undermine. This guide is brought to you by Wowhead and their raid cheat sheets, which we'll tell you more about right after the boss. Also, big thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Hope you'll enjoy all the Patreon exclusive content we've got coming out this tier, like extended heroic guides and more. Alright, so Stix only has one phase. There's a little bit of AoE to do throughout the fight, and you'll want a Bloodlust on pull. This fight is actually super unique because of the main mechanic that happens every time the boss gets to full energy. He casts this big lightning channel, which spawns a bunch of these green garbage piles around the room, and also spawns a big bomb randomly in the room, and also automatically puts a few random players on these trash balls that constantly roll forward. And you have to use one of the trash balls to destroy the big bomb before it explodes on the raid, and the rest of them can be used to do huge boss damage. So here's how you do all that. When you get put on a ball, you get this resource bar that shows how big your ball is, and you need to make your ball bigger by first rolling over some small garbage piles to absorb them, because you can't absorb the bigger piles until your resource bar is halfway. And then once your bar is halfway, rolling over some of the big garbage piles until your bar is completely full. It only takes like 4 small piles and 3 big piles to fill up. Then once you're full size, you either run your ball into the big bomb to destroy it, or if that's taken care of, you run it into the boss, which does more damage the bigger your ball is. The current tank is always chosen as one of the ball people, so they should be assigned to be the one to take care of the bomb and focus on absorbing piles around where it is. And the ball players that aren't the tank should try to stay away from the area around the bomb so that the tank doesn't get all their piles stolen and can actually get to full size in time. It's really not a big deal if the non-tank players are completely full size when they run into the boss. Just get as big as you can and then send it, because you only get a limited time on the ball before it just despawns. But yeah, if you can get that bomb taken care of consistently, you're like 80% of the way to killing the boss. That's the big mechanic check. There are a few other things going on in the fight though. First of all, getting ran over by a ball does do damage to you and stuns you for a second, but there's not really a guaranteed way to prevent that. It's just something that happens. When the boss casts Incinerator, it puts these fire circles around a few random players, which does pulsing damage in that circle, so everyone should stay out of each other's circles, but also the circle burns any garbage piles it comes into contact with, so everyone needs to make sure they aren't standing too close to a garbage pile pretty much the entire fight. Burning a pile turns it into a pool of fire and also puts a stack of a dot on the entire raid for a long time, so avoiding this is a big deal. The boss also spawns a couple different kinds of ads at full energy. There's junkyard hyenas that have to be tanked, and on heroic they put a dispellable disease on the tank that decreases their healing taken, so disease dispels are nice if you have any. And there's scrap masters, which are ranged and don't have to be tanked, but they have a channel that should be interrupted to prevent a bunch of random single target damage, and they put a circle on the ground where they're going to jump to, which everyone has to avoid. The ads can actually be absorbed by the trash balls too, which is nice because they count toward making the ball bigger, and when the ball is destroyed, the ads get spit back out and take double damage until they die. So the ball players should definitely look to soak these up when they can. For the tanks, the boss casts Demolish on the tank right before full energy, which does a lot of damage and increases their damage taken for a while, so the tank needs to use a defensive and still hold the boss for a couple seconds until they get chosen for the ball thing, and then the other tank can taunt. And if you want the same tank to do the ball every time, they can taunt back a few seconds before the next full energy, because the debuff falls off right before the next Demolish cast, and they can just get chosen every time. The boss also casts Meltdown on the tank every once in a while, which does huge damage over 3 seconds, so they should use a defensive for that too. And on heroic, the full energy cast also spawns these territorial bombshell ads that are attached to different garbage piles. Everybody needs to help kill these ads before they explode on the raid after 30 seconds. They detach from their garbage pile once they get to 75% health, and everyone should help grip or knock them in closer to the boss so they can get cleaved down. It's also super important that the garbage ball players avoid running into any of them, because that triggers the explosion on the raid and wastes the ball. Finally, at some point after the first full energy cast, the boss has a short, almost intermission where he flies up in the air and goes immune and spawns a ton of circles to dodge, and then a few seconds later he crashes back down in this big circle, which everyone has to dodge, and knocks everyone back and does a bunch of raid damage. Then he goes back to the usual mechanics, but now he has a buff for the rest of the fight that increases his attack speed and makes him spawn 2 of the big bombs at full energy. This means you need the tank to take care of one of the bombs as usual, but you also need one of the random ball players to destroy one too. Hopefully Bigwigs or DBM or a Weak Aura automatically assigns a person to do the other bomb, but if not, the raid leader should call for one of them to be the bomb destroyer and they take care of it. And if that doesn't happen, it's just a scramble, and everyone with a ball should make sure both bombs get destroyed, or else you're dead. The boss also starts automatically igniting garbage piles for the rest of the fight, so there's some extra raid damage for the healers to deal with. And that's pretty much it. For our recaps this tier, check out the new and improved Wowhead cheat sheets, a quick and easy way to get all of the key info for every boss in Liberation of Undermine, including concise strategies, key assignments, and any pro tips you might need. So check out the cheat sheet link in the description. And thanks again to our supporters on Patreon. We've got a ton of Patreon exclusive content coming this tier, like extended heroic guides, mythic walkthrough guides, and a weekly podcast. So check out that link below. See you next time.